Welcome back to my channel. I am your girl, Miss Leslie B. Please comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you go ahead and share to everybody, okay? Because I got a banger for you today. I am talking about distractions, honey. And we all have them. We all deal with distractions. It is a major part of our lives, definitely a major part of our lives. And we have to learn how to navigate those distractions. And so, Webster, or the dictionary, defines a distraction as an object that directs one's attention away from something else, staying away from one's faith or purpose. That's something. I'm gonna read that again because wow, that just kind of hit me. An object that directs one's attention away from something else, staying away from one's faith or purpose. Now that's heavy. That means that distractions come and they can keep you away from the main thing. So the focus now is to keep the main thing, right? So, I have an example. So this is something that I learned when I was heavily doing Mary Kay. And the example was, if all the lights are green when you're on your way home, you don't really have many obstacles or distractions keeping you from getting home, right? And see, for me, I have 2 lights and a couple of stop signs from my job to home. So if all the lights are green and ain't nobody sitting at the stop sign when I get to it, I pretty much have a stop and keep on going, and ain't nothing stop me from getting home. But and see, that's the problem. We all have something that occurs. It may not be every day, but some days you're gonna have something, right? So, but if, let's say, there was a car accident and traffic is being averted to, or rerouted to go another way, a way that you may not even be familiar with taking to go home. Child, that's a whole distraction, because you're looking at everything but the right thing. Don't know where to turn in order to make sure that you can get to your own house. It'll took you what was normally a 10-minute ride is now 30 minutes. That's a distraction. And I know we've all experienced one. I had one today, child, sitting up here washing clothes, and I said, I'm gonna pop me a bag of popcorn, put a bag of popcorn in the microwave, and I turned around to take the clothes out the dryer to go put them on the bed, to put another load in the wash machine and the dryer, and next thing I know, the popcorn done burnt up to a crisp. I don't even know what happened. 10 seconds went by and the darn popcorn is burnt up. Okay, so that my distraction was, I probably should have just waited on moving them clothes out the wash machine and went on to pop my popcorn, and then got the stuff out the dryer and all that, and move that stuff over. But that's all right. I mean, it is what it happens every day. There's a distraction, and we learn how to navigate through them, right? So when we're talking about distractions, it can come in any form. Like I just said, I just talked about popcorn and doing laundry. That was me, right? But then what if you have other factors that are coming to play, that people may show up, people that you may be trying to get out of your life, or even if you work in a service-based role and there are different obstacles that come up, like a dog can come up when you out on your mail route, or in your service base, people come in there and they talking crazy. Even at the hospital, you went to the doctor instead of seeing the hospital. Even if you go to the doctor, you went to the doctor for a checkup, and they come back and tell you something else is wrong. That becomes a distraction, because now you can't focus on your work on the way back home. And sometimes you get to the point to where you can't even go back to work. You say, you know what, I done had enough. I gotta go home and work through my own emotions, work through my own thoughts. I need to go rest. That's a distraction, right? So I got a couple of ways on how to eliminate or even get back on track from your distractions. Because for me, I've had several distractions throughout my life, throughout just trying to grow to be a better person. And some of them I keep hitting my head up on the wall because I ain't figured out how to get around the obstacle. And then there are times where I have figured it out, but I'm still not doing what I'm supposed to do. That's all of us. So how do you figure out how to navigate with distractions? So number one, you need to identify what your triggers are, right? So identify your triggers. What does that mean, identify the triggers? Because sometimes you may not realize that it could be a trigger. An example is when you have a relationship, courting relationship, in which one of the partners finds fault in everything that the other partner does. Okay? When do you figure out what are the triggers? Because sometimes it's not based upon what you've done to that partner. It could be some external factors. It could be life happening with that other partner, but they haven't identified what the issue is with them. So every time you're like, oh, you know what, I just did blah, blah, blah. And they're like finding fault because you didn't let them know first. Yeah. What about sibling relationships? How do you and your siblings get along? There could be a distraction keeping you from staying focused on what you need to focus on. What about in your employment? Right? So when you're looking at your employment, are there any type of relationships, like again, working in the service industry where you're dealing with the public and people come in and they may have an attitude because they don't like the response they've been receiving, and so they come in frustrated but not having the full understanding. Okay, it can cause you to have a bad day. Now stuff that you were supposed to work on, you're no longer working on because it has razzled you, it has gotten you frustrated, which now causes you to be distracted, and you can't focus on the 10 other things that you were supposed to focus on for that day. Now you're doing everything but doing the things that were on your list for the day, right? Okay, so when we say identify your triggers, identify what the triggers are. Sometimes it could just be that you woke up and it started off as a bad day. Or while you're out on your mail route and you know that a particular house has pets. Okay, well, you're gonna learn a different way on how to deliver that mail. Or even, like I said, with sibling rivalry, or even a spousal relationship. What you're gonna do, you're gonna learn how to navigate. So identify what those triggers are. Do you need to go to the doctor and don't have insurance? Do you need dental work or eyeglasses? Look no further. I have medical plans available that start at $0. Click the link below to see your options. With the spousal relationship, the trigger is your spouse. But it wasn't necessarily them. It could be something that occurred with them, and now is causing them to not be is causing them to be reactive with you, in which now it causes you to not be in a good place, right? It causes you to lose focus on what you were working on. And now you got to figure out how to regain your mental. Okay, so number one, identify triggers. Identify triggers. It could be your neighbor. Sometimes we have neighbors that do weird things, okay, in an apartment and in a house. We have neighbors that do things that sometimes we don't agree with. And it could just be that you need to have a conversation with the neighbor and say, you know what, every time you cook this particular meal, it's giving me a headache. It's giving me some type of, I'll break out in some kind of rash, child, I don't know. But talk to the neighbor. Yeah, identify what the trigger is. And and let them know, hey, you know what? If you don't do this, or sometimes you can even cook a different meal for your neighbors, or they can cook something different and invite y'all over, and next thing you know, y'all got a best friend relationship. Okay, so identify the triggers, right? Number one. Number two, create a distraction-free environment. So if your spouse is the trigger, then sometimes you have to walk away, right? Sometimes you have to walk away and say, you know what? You're having a bad day. I don't want to make it worse. I don't want it to have an effect on me. So I'm going to let you have your moment, and we'll reconvene at a later time. At work, when the people come in, sometimes it's all about, you know what, give them clarity. Allow them to excuse me. If they come in being irate because you work in a service service-based field, and you have irate clients walk in, empathize with them. Empathize with them. Don't do what is called an eye for an eye. Don't, because they're coming in loud and disruptful. Can't get the word out. They're disrupting the place. Don't do the same with them. Don't get loud with them. Don't start talking crazy. Empathize. You know what? You say, you know what? I apologize for you receiving that information. I apologize for the lack of. I apologize. You know what? I understand exactly where you're coming from. I experienced blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes it helps. A lot of times it helps. And then we go back over the information and help them get a clear understanding of Y, of X, of Z. Yes, I gave you some variables as if we're in algebra, but you help them get an understanding. But you don't do it in an irate way. Just because they're irate don't mean you have to get irate as well. As a matter of fact, for me, when I have clients that come in, you know what? For me, the best way to get them to understand is documentation. We have documentation of blah, blah, blah. We have documentation of this, whatever, right? So when we put all of this information in front of them, they can no longer argue. They can no longer fuss. They can no longer be dysfunctional. They may still sometimes walk out upset, but you help them understand, well, this is why the decision was made on blah. And this is how we can move forward, getting you back into whatever. Create a distraction-free environment. Sometimes it's as easy as, you know what, my phone done rang too much today. I'm going to turn my ringer off because now I need some time to decompress. You know what? Since I burned up this popcorn today, let me refocus, okay? And I'm not going to pop another bag of popcorn while I'm trying to change the clothes in the wash machine and the dryer. Create a distraction free. Sometimes you got to remember that yourself, okay? Create a distraction free environment, right? So then set clear goals, right? And then even a daily to-do task. So there are times where my mind is racing. What I mean by racing is you lay down to go to sleep, and your next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You lay down at 10 o'clock, but you done thought about everything that need to happen tomorrow and the rest of the week. And you got all these tasks that need to be done for tomorrow. All these tasks need to be done for Tuesday. All these tasks that need to be done for Wednesday. But guess what? It's all still stuck in your mind. Sometimes what you need to do is write it down. A lot of times we need to write it down. Or if you don't write it down, there are apps in the phone that you can use called, one of them is, use a planner, okay? Use a planner, a daily task reminder, something, okay? In order to create to-do lists. Set clear goals and create a to-do list. So what I mean by set clear goals, okay, well, let's say you're working towards becoming an attorney and you need to have taken an LSAT exam by a certain time frame. Okay, so then with the LSAT, if you know that you have to take the exam by a certain time frame, okay, well then how often are you practice testing? How often are you preparing? How often are you, getting ready for this transitional phase in your life? That's just like setting clear goals, right? So as a entrepreneur, you know that there are certain things that you have to do. Because I'm a licensed insurance agent and my license renews, I have to complete continuing education courses every 2 years. So then set clear goals. Okay, my goal is I plan on, for me, completing I have to do so many hours in continuing education. So if I do one course in 1 month, one course another month, one course another month, so then by the time I've hit the end of the time frame, It doesn't take long because you only need 24 units. And if I have one course that's 7 units, then I mean, okay, that knocks it down rather fast, right? So, do you know someone that's experienced cancer and their quality of life changed? They ended up having to sell their home, sell their property. Guess what? There's an insurance policy that can keep you from having to lose all of your things that you work so hard for. Click the link in bio so that we can get you some coverage today, okay? But it's all about timing it all. That's just like being a content creator and producing content to where it's clear and concise and people understand what you're saying. They're able to digest the information, right? So then you're setting clear goals. What is the focus for this week? What is the focus? Where are we? What is the end game? What's the focus? Set clear goals. Set the goals on what you need to accomplish. Even if you say, you know what, for the month of March, I'm focusing on, because we're still in March. Okay, but if March is the Women's Month, National Women's Month, or Colorectal Cancer Month, and you want to focus on colorectal cancer at least once a week, then you're going to create content for colorectal cancer at least once a week. That's the same thing with the Women's Month. If you're going to focus on Women's Month and you want content centered around it being Women's Month, then you're going to create the content, but you need to make sure that your goals are clear. Okay? And you can easily do it from month to week to day, all right? What I learned early is the goal may be so huge that it appears like an elephant, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you're trying, like with me, I want to, for one portion of my business, I want to build 100 new clients. Like I say, one portion because I have several different segments within my business. But for one segment of my business, I want to add 100 new clients. Okay, so for the year of 2025. So then if 100 new clients for the year of 2025, it seems as if it's an elephant. Guess what? You can kill it. You can eat it. You can establish it one bite at a time, right? You can you can get it broken down one bite at a time. What I mean by that is you establish monthly goals, you establish weekly goals, you establish daily goals. How do you continue to go out and meet new people? How do you continue to get new clients? How do you continue to send out marketing material and mailers and go to different events in order to get new clients? That's what I mean by setting clear goals. What activities do you have planned for the month? Okay. Turn off your notifications. That's another one for the distractions. Turn off your notifications and unplug, right? Turn off your notifications. I have notifications that pop up all day long on my phone from all kinds of organizations, all kinds of people, all kinds of everything. And sometimes you don't need a notification every time somebody posts something. Every time you don't need a notification. It keeps you plugged in. It keeps you it keeps everything on your mind instead of the main thing. So turn off the notifications. Stop receiving updates just because somebody else made a post on Instagram, or somebody made a post on Facebook, or somebody liked your post on TikTok. Those are very much unnecessary. Turn off your notifications. All right, then when I talked about setting clear goals, this is another something. Prioritize your tasks, right? So when you're prioritizing your tasks, that means that you're going to determine what's most important. When I said do your daily tasks, you need to do what's six most, in Mary Kay, it was 6 most important things to do. But it's not, even if it's not Mary Kay, if you're an insurance agent, if you're a realtor, there are so many different things. If you sell what's the stuff, the home insurance, the home security, or if you're a locksmith, if you're wanting people to know what your business is and you're trying to get new clients, you have to have your tasks prioritized, because it may not be important to create, okay, it's important to create mailers, it's important to have mailers ready to go out, but is it important to send out 1,000 mailers this week? Maybe you can do 250 this week, 250 next week. If you needed to do 1,000 mailers for the month, do 250 every week. That's what I mean by prioritizing your tasks. Yeah, you may need to do 1,000 mailers, and that's for new clients, but you may not need to do 1,000 all at one time. Is that conducive to your budget, first of all? All right. Then another way to eliminate distractions is take regular breaks, right? So when I am at my job, I get up and take breaks. Get up and take breaks, because so much goes on, and the next thing you know, you spent too much time on a specific task, and you didn't get to anything else. Just that, plain and simple. So you have to be able to, first of all, learn how to task, but then also take breaks when needed. If you need to go and take a walk, sometimes it's best. What it does is helps clear your thoughts, and then God can download into you some other things that need to go on, and you're able to complete the task that had. Practice mindfulness is another step when you're eliminating distractions. Practice mindfulness. When we mean by practice mindfulness, then you need to be aware. Be aware that you are distracted so that you can refocus. Okay? There are times where things happen and you're not aware that it is a distraction. Yes, practice mindfulness, okay? Another task or another way to eliminate distractions is getting sleep. Yes, getting sleep. It is very important, because there are times where things consistently come up. Like I said, when we talked about earlier, turn off the notifications. If you don't have the notifications turned on, then you don't know that something happened, right? That's just like with emails. I have emails that pop up at all times, just like all kinds of notifications for the social media and all that stuff. If you have that turned off, then guess what? You don't know that something happened. So then you're able to focus on sleep. That allows you an opportunity to unplug. It allows you an opportunity to refocus your energies and keep the main thing the main thing. And then once with the distractions being eliminated, reward yourself. Reward yourself when you've completed the task. So with me, like I said, I have some goals set for my business, and as they are being met, reward yourself. Don't continue to say, oh, you know what, I gotta keep going, because I ain't where I'm supposed to be by the end of the year. Guess what? It's okay to smell the flowers, go out and enjoy the rain. It's okay to go and have a pedicure and then get back to business. Acknowledge your accomplishments and then get back to business. And I am learning that myself, because I am big on, oh, I gotta keep going to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But I'm not focusing on the fact that this is what I've accomplished. I've accomplished this, and this was my initial goal. Yeah, and that's great. But I consistently shoot for the moon, and I land among the stars in so many different areas. And there are some things that, yes, I shot for the moon and I landed on the moon, but I need to sit in it for the moment, acknowledge what I've done, give myself a pat on the back, and then keep going. Alrighty, y'all. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you got some new information. Yeah. Comment, like, subscribe, share to all your friends. Absolutely. Because we are working very hard at eliminating distractions for this year, 2025 and beyond, honey, because there is no more. The focus is building business. The focus is building generational wealth. The focus is breaking generational curses. The focus is building our relationship with Jesus Christ and God and the Holy Spirit, because they are one. Okay? Yes. So y'all have a good rest of your day. And know that you love you.